Thanks be to the Emperor, you are alive, your lordship. We are most gratified by your return, and the crew is full of zeal to carry out any orders you may have. The Voxmaster falters. Lord Captain, we saw a number of ships approach the sun, black creations of inhuman make, amalgams of sharp angles and edges. They surrounded the star, and then, my apologies, but I struggled to find the words that would describe that terrible sight. The Xenos made the sun vanish into the void. The interrogator closes his eyes and grimaces. Rykard. You see Abelard's expression change as if a shadow has suddenly fallen over him. He rubs his temple wearily, as if we did not have enough troubles on our hands already. The Xenos, enemies of humanity. Minoris nods. A breed of Eldari. The most cruel and devious of their kind. The design of their ships match the description provided by the Voxmaster. Like all Xenos, the Drakari are a blight on the face of the galaxy, but their technical superiority is indisputable. They harbor and fear warp sorcery, which is why they rely on creations of their twisted intellect. And many of those creations are capable of things that may seem akin to sorcery to the unenlightened eye. The theft of the sun is one example of what they are capable of. We can rule out that possibility. The Drakari would never ally themselves with the arch-enemy's worshippers. If I had to name one thing that humanity and these Xenos have in common, it would be a shared loathing for warp corruption. Henrik's glances around. The situation calls for immediate action, Jin. We can continue this conversation later if you so wish, but right now, he gestures back at the teeming, tumultuous activity. I believe you should assume command. The navigator's sanctum is no longer empty, but the warp engine is still refusing to obey the engineers. Without it, we cannot perform a warp jump. Pascal's voice buzzes anxiously from his Vox. It may be angry, or perhaps it is lamenting the injuries it has suffered. I will immediately initiate preparations for a prayer service. If the Omnissiah grants me comprehension, I will appease the machine spirit of this vessel. Our augur operators are reporting numerous uprisings and other manifestations of the archenemy's powers at various locations on the planet. Based on the fragments of communication picked up by our Vox operators, there is practically no resistance being offered by the governor's forces. Millions of people are converting to the blasphemous Final Dawn cult en masse and assembling in prayer circles. I fear that Rykard Minoris is lost. The situation is deteriorating by the minute. We must leave this system as soon as possible. However, there are still people on the planet who have not succumbed to heresy and who are worthy of rescue. Besides the small number of our own shuttles, we also have shuttles salvaged from the starport. The dark eyes of the sister battle flash. We must save as many as we can. This has all happened for a reason. Saint Argenta, whose name I carry with reverence and trepidation, is famed for saving the people of a dying world through the power of prayer. The God Emperor himself sent a star from the heavens that lifted the saint and her followers up to the sky, away from corruption and death. We must do as she did, direct all our efforts to saving those people who, at this moment, look to the heavens in hope of salvation. The lives of peasants are of little value. Our prime objective is to save the holy relic. the miraculous fusion reactor, and the electro priests who guard and tend to it. Have a lot for us as well. Every moment we spend in proximity to a dying world, we are putting ourselves at risk. Your life, Lord Captain, is far more valuable than all of Rykard Minoris. The Von Valancius dynasty cannot be allowed to perish, and so, lamentable though it is, we must rule out the idea of any evacuation. Henrix's eyes, like two deep dark pools, are resolutely fixed on you. The world is doomed, and its inhabitants along with it. The disappearance of the star was the final nudge towards death, the finale of the cult of the Final Dawn's plans. I once witnessed a similar event, a world that had surrendered to the servants of the archenemy and permitted corruption to enter too deep. At this moment, millions of people are bowing down before those who promised them salvation. They are willingly giving over their souls to chaos, a sacrifice great enough to bring forth a demon world. Our only hope of stopping this process is to retreat to a safe distance from the planet and conduct targeted bombing of the Electro Priest Monastery. If we blow up the reactor, a thermonuclear reaction will follow. The world's oxygen will evaporate, killing off the entire biosphere. In doing this, we will save millions of souls from fate worse than death, and we'll save Rykard Minoris from becoming an outpost of the Archenemy. Whatever fate you choose for this world, I urge you to make haste, Lord Captain. The planet is burning in raging flashes of crimson and purple. I can see it even from orbit, as do I see that the storms is already upon us. With every moment that we waste, it grows ever more difficult and perilous to steer the ship through the warp's turbulent currents. I'm with Lady on this. Enough talking. We need to get out of here while we still can. Something. Something lurks in depths of your consciousness, bristles at the passing thought of saving people. The spike of horror you feel takes your breath away. It is as if you are planning to steal the prey of a mighty predator. The planet is already wrapped in a thread of stretching out from the warp. It deserves to have a new master. Why can we not try to evacuate some of the people? Which of the planet's inhabitants can be evacuated? Set an optimal course and carry out an orbital strike on the Rykard Minoris. We will not waste any time on this. Go back and begin. The nobles you rescued at the starport have given the coordinates of shelters where we can find surviving aristocrats and their families. As for Sergeant Malger's troops, they will help to control the crowds of frightened commoners and prevent the shuttles from being overloaded. Thanks to you, we have salvaged many shuttles from the starport that we can now use. I'm not going to leave. I said earlier that I need to protect all the peoples. So that's what I will do. Any delay caused by loading and transporting to the ship will cost us precious time. Do not deceive yourself, Jim. If you indulge your vanity, you will doom billions of eternal torment at the hands of the archenemy. rejection from the flesh. I'll forget all about them to deliver you to footfall alive. I must do as I see fit. Perhaps I am acting foolishly in the physician's eye, but that's my decision to make. You detect a flicker of something beneath Henry's Henry's mask. Anger, bitterness, whatever it may be, it does not seep into the interrogator's dispassionate voice. In that case, I consider it necessary to point out the mark of the archenemy could infiltrate the ship along with any rescued people. Keep that in mind for the future. Consider it done. It is likely our shuttles will have capacity to evacuate more people. Consider it done. This will bring us to the limit of our capabilities. We have no more shuttles to use in the evacuation effort. Forget the nobles. The bridge is in upheaval. The technomats' prayers mix together in a senseless cacophony while servitors work hastily to remove a hardened crust of sacred unguents from the warp engine's components. In the middle of all this tumult stands Pascal, with a data slate clutched in his hand, seemingly disconnected from the flurry of activity around him. I'm not going to interfere. The hectic storm of prayers and haphazard rituals rages on. Pascal still has a statue in the eye of this maelstrom, makes no attempt to bring it under control. The Boxmaster's voice is extremely tense, but carries no hint of shameful panic. Your Lordship, warp spawn have invaded the ship. We have blocked their advance by depressurizing one of the infirmaries in their path. But it is only a temporary measure. The crew have been ordered to arm themselves and pray for the success of Lord Captain, his engine seer prime. Thank you, your Lordship. You are right. Pascal's voice changes when he addresses the crew. He now speaks with authority and resolve. Tech comrades, heed my instructions. Mayhem immediately subsides and the crew and action follow into some indiscernible logic. The omniscience servants start working in sync. The binary clamor becomes a symphony of reports, which the Magus coordinates like a skill. Homicide guides. Prayers of the tech priests surrounding the coordinator almost drown out the sounds of bustling bridge behind you. Pascal, poring intently over the data slate, his hand extends his mechadendrite towards you. Please take place at the cogitator. Dude, these words are crazy in this game. Cogitator, Lord Captain. Huge machine in front of you is lit with dozens of vid screens and hundreds of booms. The blinking lights and endless rush of symbols and digits on the green background make your eyes water, and a vague sense of alarm simmers in the depths of your mind. The typical reaction of a layperson when confronted with the magnitude of Omnissiah's creation. Among the numerous controls, you see the mouth of a cyber gargoyle, the same at the gate of the warrant chamber. Pascal's voice becomes imbued with imperious force. Servants of the machine god heed my command. Acolytes prepare the instrumentation for the liturgy of machine spirit Oh my goodness. Pro. Oh my god. Senior technomants. Recite the prayer and generate a current data report. Operations will be marked with a campanological protocol. Omnissiah rejoice. I must inform you that for the purpose of safety, complete reassembly of warp sextant, updating its datasmith blessing are required. If this is not done, then at launch the volume of aggregate calculation errors could result in the destruction of the data crypts. But as we do not have 100 hours at our disposal, we must omit this procedure. Pascal looks down at the data slate in his hand. A minor deviation from the right of operation for the sake of appeasing the spirit. What must I do? Place your hand inside the throat of the cognator guardian. The cyber gargoyle, which has been assigned to guard the forbidden data crypts. The dynastic blood extracted from your veins will serve as a key to the data core, where the machine spirit dwells. To it we will offer our prayers so that we can bypass the protective protocol for defective connections and launch the warp sextant. Pascal's voice grows quieter. The laws of the Messiah now know no exceptions, and so in this ritual I will remain at your side, to placate the wrathful machine spirit in whose abode you will be intruding. Follow my liturgies, Lord Captain, and may we receive his blessing. Metal jaws clamp down on your hand, breaking your delicate corporal sheath and releasing warm liquid into its goal. At the same moment, the image on the vid screen before you changes. At the sound of your voice, the Cognitor's servant, whose bronze-bound skeleton is built into the Cognitor housing, shudders. With a screech, its skull rotates towards you and then stops in that position. Benevolent code, a voice receptor. Pascal emits a sequence of binary signals and then is silent for several seconds. I hypothesize that the defect is located in the analyzer block. I register a reaction to the signal, but no process response. A temporary override is permissible. The Magus intently studies the vid screen. The shell was created on a forge world unknown to me, initiating standard invocation of the machine spirit. Pascal leans over the adjacent instrument panel and sets his hand on the controls. At the same time, a quiet stream of machine code begins pouring forth from his vox. What should I do now? Lord Captain, I now ask you to address the machine spirit. Speak the following command. By my authority, I revoke the inviolability protocol of the warp engine. The voice receptor will receive the vocal entry. Without your sanction, the machine spirit will not accept the data from the warp sextant. One of the Cognitor's vid screens turns red. Pascal sees this and raises his hand, signaling to the rest of the tech priest, then withdraws a connector from his sleeve and connects it to the machine. Servants of the Messiah, make now the offering of cleansed data crypts to the machine spirit so that it may be filled with their true and calibrated data. May the Messiah have mercy on our souls. In meek solemnity, the acolytes offer up the cleansed data crypts to the warp engine, one after another, repeating prayers of exaltation. After anointing the contacts with sacred unguents, Pascal inserts them in the cogitator's slots. Your head begins to spin from the holy censers, foul-smelling clouds of smoke, and from the loss of blood that the cyber gargoyle continues to drink from you, and the world swims before your eyes. Let this mechanism awaken in renewed purity. Pascal enters a sequence of commands and raises his head, watching the vid screens. Suddenly, he stops dead. No! His fingers fly over the command runes, entering command after command. His mechadendrites clicking their pincers, pull at one lever after another. The vid screens fill with strings of symbols, completely incomprehensible to you, but clearly conveying something to the Magus. After a few seconds, one of the data crypts mounted on the cogitator begins to emit sparks. A moment later, another data crypt does the same. The next bursts into flame and gives off foul-smelling smoke. Around you, the Omnissiah servants break off from their prayers, and someone bursts into frantic pleading. Pascal mournfully grates. The massive errors in the warp sextant's calculations is destroying the data repositors. The offering did not appease the ship's spirit. The warp engine cannot be filled with the motive force. We are trapped. A moment later, Magus continues uncertainly. Perhaps an alternative Ryzen protocol or an emergency launch of the auxiliary coils. Tech priest bends over the cogitator, but something in his pose and movements reveals his desperation. While the other vid screens are filled with more and more strings of symbols, the monitor in front of you blinks and its static image changes. Pascal is too engrossed in his ritual to notice. A moment, if you will. Pascal turns you, his flickering visor betraying his anxious state. Lord Captain, I stops short when he sees the vid screen. Distorted transmissions from the data core. Most likely the residual cognitive functions of the built-in servitors. Messiah, shield us from machine ghosts. Returns to manipulating the cogitator's command runes. Machine spirit, can you hear me? The cogitator servants creak quietly in its joints, a sound that is drowned out by the binary hymns and the tapping of command runes. Rescue. Yes. Machine spirit, rescue us. Lord Captain of this vessel, obey me and start the warp engine. O hallowed machine spirit, in the name of the Messiah and Emperor, reveal unto us your true power and guard us against our doom. Pascal echoes your sentiments with the triumphant sounds of binary hymn. Pascal's next vocalization goes unsynthesized as he sees the vid screens begin to stabilize one after another. The strings frenetically galloping across the green background are replaced with stable images or regularly updating status reports. Only one monitor remains inexplicably red. The tech priest Vox crackles in shock, but his report is as clipped and clinical as ever. Registering, warp sextant activated. Registering, data stream stabilizing. Registering, 0 data errors found. Reporting, the warp engine is ready for translation. After a pause, Pascal adds, I am also reporting evidence indicating a Category 3 miracle fulfilling the criterion, thou shalt witness the mechanism that toils in glorification of its function and in defiance of deactivation. Master Helmsman, Lord Captain, Raver here. The crew are almost finished carrying out the orders given earlier, and I've just received confirmation from the engineering halls. I don't know what you did, but the warp engine's up and raring to go. We're ready to begin the translation to the warp, Your Lordship. Waiting for you to ascend the Captain's throne, Lord Captain. May the Emperor protect us.
Von Valancia's flagship made its way out of the doomed star system. As the void shift plunged deeper into the Corona's expanse, the rogue trader's subjects bid a formal farewell to the late head of the dynasty, Theodora von Valancius. Having paid their last respects, the crew gathered their strength and braced themselves for whatever was to come next.